Hey folks, if you are tuning in, if you could leave a note in the comments section so I know there's people there. We're going to be talking about some revenue generating ideas today, this morning on Facebook. And I think Susan's going to join me in a little bit, but just let me know you're here. We're getting ready to start. Facebook likes us to wait a minute or two once the Facebook Live goes live. So in the meantime, if you want to just post some comments in the chat box so I know that someone's out there, that would be awesome. And I need to turn off my phone so it doesn't ring while I'm on this thing. Alex McKinnon is here. Hi, Alex. Alex is one of our favorite vendors. He's from Kinbowls. So, and Janika's here, and Aaron's here, and Jamie. Jamie is here. Yay, Jamie. Jamie's from Blue Nine Pet Products, makers of the Climb and the Balance Harness, which we love. Alex, David Boyd, Jennifer Pearson. Jennifer, I need to talk to you at some point. Give me a call or shoot me an email. This is awesome. Oh, look, people are here from Australia. Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. I think Susan's getting ready to join us, so that's awesome. I'm gonna bring Susan up so she's here as well. Hey, Susan.
Hi.
All right, we have all kinds of people on, so we're going to just go ahead and get started. So obviously, we all know that we're feeling the ramifications of COVID-19. Possibly you know people that are sick. Possibly you know people who have been near people who are sick. Possibly you're in home quarantine like I am. And hopefully everybody feels well, but we also know that there's the impact on our revenue, that cancellations because people can't travel and people are nervous about going out. So all of those issues are impacting us all. So we wanted to give you some ideas on how to generate revenue. And maybe you thought of some of these things, and we would love to hear ideas from you guys too, because I think with all of our community, we can hopefully share ideas about being creative right now. This is an awesome time to be creative. And sometimes the best creative ideas come out of stress. So that can definitely happen, and that would be a good thing. So I'm going to start with a few. We have a whole list of things we're going to talk about. I'll do a couple, Susan will do a couple, we'll read the ideas that you guys have. But one of the ideas I had with people who have facilities where they have enclosures outside or they have big space inside that's now not being used is you could potentially offer a private dog park. Maybe you already do a private dog park and people just aren't coming because they don't want to be together with other people. You could do a private dog park that's one-on-one. The person has to schedule a time to bring in their dog. So, I mean, I'll take my dog for a walk right now, but I love to have him be able to get out and actually, you know, run around. And I'm not going to take him to a dog park right now because I obviously don't want to be around people. But if I had an enclosed area that was safe and I could take him and pay to do that, I would totally do that. So that's an option if you've got that space at your facility where you can allow people to come in and use it and be by themselves with their dog to throw the ball or chase the dog or whatever the dog wants to do. That's definitely something that you may be able to work on and offer to your clients. The other thing, and obviously with all of these, you would put protocols into place to make your clients feel comfortable in terms of social distance from you or from your staff, and then protocols that you're using for cleaning. You should be doing that anyway. So obviously there's, with all of these options, you know, there's some of those concerns, but I'm just kind of going to brainstorm just the ideas with you. The second,
just to clarify, you're recommending there be a fee for these?
Yes. The whole thing is about generating revenue. If you are able to do that for free, it is a great service to offer your clients. You know, if that's something you want to do and you just want to build goodwill, but at least most of the folks we're hearing from are in need of money. So I would offer that. Now, so remember that when you go out there to charge something for it, and a lot of people are thinking, well, nobody has money right now and everybody's lost their job. That is true for certain groups of people. If you work in the restaurant, if you're a waitress, if you're a bartender, if you own a small business yourself, you are probably hurting for money right now. But there's another part of the population that has a different type of job where they may still be getting paid. They may be still getting paid and are now working at home. And so they're with their dog. So don't assume that nobody can afford to do anything. Now, I would, we're going to talk about how to price these things at the end. But yes, all of the ideas we're throwing out today, I would recommend charging something for as a way to help generate revenue during this crisis. Who knows? Some of them might be so well received, you keep doing them. But all right. So do you want to talk about the next one, Susan? Do you want to just go back and forth? Do you have my list?
I do have your list. So
Susan not talked before getting on this Facebook Live, so we're winging it right now.
Right. So I know a lot of you guys are doing enrichment and your clients love it, or even if you're not doing enrichment, a lot of you do know how to do a lot of the activities that are recommended and a part of enrichment. So you can actually do some how-tos and sell them to your clients. Maybe it's a monthly fee or enhances an upgrade to the membership program. And you can either host those videos on your own website, or you can set up private Facebook group and send them the link once they've paid for it, and just do a once a week enrichment. And if you have equipment that they might need, you could maybe rent equipment out. So climbs, agility, puzzle toys, and let them try it out. So maybe there's an enrichment membership that will help them keep their dogs entertained, and that you're just kind of guiding the process and recommending ideas and activities.
Yeah, and going back to really look at all the stuff in your facility right now that you are not using. Can you somehow rent it or sell it to your clients? And I would say renting it, because most of that equipment you're going to want back. But if you have 12 climbs that you're not using now because maybe you're not doing as much training, or maybe you have one whole room that's sitting empty, then find 12 people that might want to rent those and offer them a time to try it at home, and refer them to the Blue Nine website, and they can get the training for how to do it. Or better yet, like Susan just said, create your own videos and sell those to them for a small fee. If you have things that are like treats, you might want to take some of those and figure out how you can sell those. And one of the things we thought about was doing some kind of a delivery service. So, people love things like BarkBox, where they get a delivery of toys and treats for their dogs, or name the subscription. There's probably a box out there for it. I get HelloFresh, which is, food that gets delivered to my house. Well, what if you created something like that for this interim time when people aren't traveling, and you offer a delivery service? So things like stuffed Kongs, go out and get a whole bunch of Kongs, stuff them for the client, and deliver them to the house. Guess what? Everyone's home with their dog right now. I actually just was asked to give some information for a magazine article, which I'm going to turn into a blog now, about what to do with your dog when you're home and you're trying to work. And one of the things I said was, if you're not used to being at home with your dog is maybe asking to go out, or maybe asking to play, or maybe wanting to interact, and you're trying to work. So I do recommend stuffed Kongs for that. So create a Kong delivery service. Get, stuff 3 or 4 Kongs and tell your clients you'll stuff the Kong, you'll deliver them to the house, and then next week you'll pick them up and you'll deliver 4 more or 3 more, or whatever the subscription looks like. So that's a good idea. If you've got treats and games, like Susan just said, you could package those. Take a puzzle toy, some treats, and a Kong, put them all together. That becomes your subscription box, and you're going to deliver that to your client's house, and you can charge for that. Obviously, those things you probably want to get back. So I would do some kind of a system where you're picking them up the next week and getting them back to clean them and disinfect them before you use them again. If you've got kin bowls, if you actually do use the kin bowls in your facility and now you have those refills, I would be recommending those for your clients for sanitation, talking about that. And so maybe you have the ability to sell those, so they're not just sitting on your shelves. And I'm talking about, you're going to have to replenish your own, but you can sell the refills with that. So they're not just sitting there taking up space on your shelf and not making you any money. So that's another idea as well.
And if you're renting out the equipment, you may want to take a small deposit just to make sure you get it back, or have a credit card that, in the event that you don't get it back, that they can pay you for it. So, and again, if you're going to do a subscription model, pick up and drop off. There might be a setup fee that's a small amount, to get it set up, and that way you make sure you get your initial costs from this back.
Yeah, the deposit is a great idea. I hadn't thought about that, Susan. So another kind of going with Susan mentioned sort of enrichment how-tos, any kind of short video clips you can offer them. You could do conditioning, you can do enrichment, you could do tricks, you can do obedience training, any kind of like little how-to videos you could offer them to send those to them for a nominal fee. So you're going to play on the fact that they're home, their dog's home, they're not coming in, but their dog still needs exercise. And here's an option for them. And I would start all of those with, honestly, I would start all of those with the fact that the dog really should stay on a schedule. So if possible, even though you're home, it's really beneficial for your dog to stay on a schedule. Bring them, continue to bring them to daycare. I would start all my emails with that if you typically do daycare anyway, because as a trainer, I will tell you, change of routine is one of the biggest one of the biggest issues that causes problems in dogs. So when school starts, kids go back to school, kids come home from school. When schedules change like that, someone moves out of the house, someone moves into the house, that's when dog trainers will get calls saying, my dog's suddenly chewing, my dog's suddenly doing things they never did, my dog's having house training issues. Guess what? It's because of a change in routine. So all of your communication with your clients, if you do daycare, should be, I know you're home and your dog's with you now, but think about how it's going to affect your dog when you're going from 24/7 being at home to now I have to go back to work. That might change, that might disrupt your dog's routine. Or if your clients are calling you going, oh, my dog's nuts, it's probably because now they're home. So trying to stress they should continue to come to daycare. But then, after that say, but if you can't do that, here's some other activities we have, or here's some services we offer. And so again, telling them on a weekly basis, you'll send them, a short video clip to help them work with their dog or train their dog or do enrichment with their dog or do conditioning with their dog, whatever it is. Create a little Facebook page for those people, put the videos in there, and, it's all, they can go in there and build, you can talk to them through Facebook and that kind of thing. So that's another potential way to generate revenue during this time.
So if you are going to be like doing delivery, or if you have a lot of clients that are home, again, they're not used to taking their dog for midday walks. Some of them may be so busy working from home that they would love it if you would do it. And so providing some dog walking services, even if you don't typically do that, if you have staff that are comfortable and you trust that, doing that, you could even offer while they're there to do a poop pickup service. Again, not something you may normally do, but again, right now you're trying to be creative and serve client needs and also get you revenue. So see what you can do that's a win-win. So both of those would be something that would be an option if you are going out to your client's house. That maybe, again, it's kind of like upselling and having more services for the dogs that are coming in. It's the same thing. Think about if you are going to go out and be at a client's house, what more can you do to get more revenue from that one visit?
Yeah, I actually got an email we occasionally use a pet sitter when we're going to go up to Denver and we're going to be gone for an extended period of time. And they actually just sent an email to us saying that they will pick up poop in our yard. They will do any kind of yard work we need. They will, help shovel snow if it snows, because we're still in Colorado. We're expecting snow this week. So, and I don't think that's stuff they normally do. I think they're just looking to generate more revenue. So yeah, and that's also a way to keep your staff engaged. So if you don't want to lay off your staff and you can offer them these kinds of things, that may be a way to continue to pay them as well, which might not be the ideal job that they want, but they may be willing to do it if they're relying on that money for their, family. So definitely don't rule it out.
Katie had a good question about doing some of this virtual stuff, Robin, if there were platforms other than private Facebook. And you could do something, I think, on your website if you had a kind of like membership link, which we've used a couple that work with WordPress.
Yeah, so there are if you have a WordPress site, and I would say most websites do this anyway, but if you have a WordPress site, for sure, you can create a page and password protect it. So you would be able to put all the videos there. Now, I would say, unless you have huge bandwidth, if you're going to put a lot of videos on a WordPress site, you really need to put them somewhere like Vimeo or YouTube, and then put the link on your WordPress site. And obviously hide those videos on YouTube and WordPress so people can't, or YouTube and Vimeo so people can't share them. Because typically most websites don't, unless you add a plugin, won't take a lot of video before you start slowing down your website too much. So there is that concern, but you can password protect that page. And then when people purchase those videos, you can just give them a link. You can also Zoom. We talked about this yesterday. Zoom has actually is now offering Zoom, ZOOM, is a teleconference website. I'll start there in case you've never heard of Zoom. We use it all the time at the Dog Growers for meetings or one-on-one consults, and you end up being able to talk to the person through your computer and see them and hear them and all that. So you could also do stuff on Zoom. So that would be another way to keep it off of Facebook. I typically would not necessarily recommend Facebook, but for this sort of immediacy and ease of user being able to interface, I would not rule it out. So, and when I'm saying Facebook, I would put it on a group. I would create a private group that you allow people in based on whether or not they've obviously paid for those services. So,
and we're going to give you guys lots of ideas. If some of these don't work for your business, that's your decision. We've got a lot of alternatives. So not everything's going to work for everybody. And we do encourage you, to share if you've tried something. But if you don't want to have employees going into homes, then, do some of the online video things and do virtual groups. I think if you are going in and people are concerned about social distancing, you need to work out protocols for that as far as doing handoffs. Maybe even they have you text and they put their dog in a crate right outside the door, and then you go up once the door is shut and get the dog out of the crate. I mean, there's ways you can do it. You just have to think about social distancing and make your clients comfortable.
Yeah, we have a lot of people that are doing protocols for handoffs. So Gray Moore, I don't know if she's on this, but she emailed me yesterday saying she was doing a situation where they would bring their facility leashes out to the car. The owner would take their collars off, and the daycare would put their collars and leashes on and then walk the dog in. So trying to eliminate that. If you're going to the person's home, there's some things where you may not have to interact with them at all. Like if you're going to go clean up poop in the backyard, you can just text that owner and say, hey, I'm here, I'll be in the backyard for a few minutes, and then text them when you're done. You don't even have to talk to them. I love the idea of maybe just putting the dog in the crate right before, text when you get there and the owner can come out. So there's definitely ways to look at how you can, and a lot of that's going to depend on, what your client's preferences are.
And if they have a crate, it's another thing, you can rent them temporarily during this period.
That's awesome. Good job, Susan. That's a good idea. We had a bunch of people asking about the Kinball, and Jennifer Wolf Pearson was actually put the link. I think a couple people put the link, so I appreciate that, Jennifer. But the Kinball, and I think we're going to have Alex come on and do a video at some point with us. But the Kinball is a disposable sugar cane fiber bowl with a, hang on, let me get mine. I'll tell you really quick. Keep talking, Susan.
All right, so we'll go through some of the questions and we'll come back to the Kinball. There's a link about client's dog not being susceptible to COVID-19. And we have addressed that in several, probably almost every one of these Facebook Lives. And if you go to our webpage on COVID-19, there are some links. There's two aspects to this. Can the dog get the disease and pass on the disease? The answer to that is no. The other thing is, can the dog's fur carry potentially the disease? And what we've heard that it is a surface, and so there could be droplets on the hair surfaces. And so we've talked in several of our sessions about doing a quick wipe down with a dog safe a disinfecting wipe to put clients at ease. So I do encourage, if you haven't seen some of our earlier Facebook Lives, there's great information in those as well. And this one, we really do want to focus on additional revenue streams. So you got your Kinballs there, Robin?
Yeah, so Kinball is wait.
I know, see, you got that.
Hard to figure out where the camera is.
Yes.
So it's a bowl. This bowl is what's it called? Recyclable. It's made out of sugarcane. And then there's a top like this. So you put the bowl down, you put this over it, and then the dog eats out of it. And so for pet care facilities, you're not washing bowls after every meal. You're washing this when the dog leaves. So instead of doing like, if you feed a dog twice a day and give them water, obviously all day, instead of that whole camera thing's weird. Instead of, here, let me switch this. Instead of washing every single bowl after every single meal and washing the water multiple times a day, you can just exchange these sugarcane bowls and recycle them. This only gets washed when the dog leaves. So, or you can wipe it down in between. I use them at home though, because I think they're more sanitary. And frankly, my dog eats and drinks better out of those. And there's a whole bunch of information about how it will save you money, save water, saves your staff time. Anyway, I'll bring Alex on. He can tell you all that. So that's the Kin Bowl. So, and there is a link in there. So that, again, if you are using those in your facility, you could talk to your clients about possibly using those. And then if you've got all those refills, you could sell the refills to the clients. So they kind of get started on using it as well. So that's just another way to generate some more revenue.
Yeah.
Ellen mentioned this. Make sure to check with your city or county if you're being in a position to shelter dogs if things got that bad. It's always good to look at, if things do get crazier than they are now. So that's a good suggestion as well. Somebody else said, Bing said, we have staff wearing gloves and meeting clients outside to retrieve dogs from cars for daycare and then disinfecting any leashes. So that's another option for that whole trade-off, handoff situation with social distancing. So good ideas from some of you guys out there.
I like Ruth's about providing an interactive service where you can actually train with them live. And absolutely, you can do that with Zoom. You could probably even do that with Facebook Live one-on-one. There's absolutely some live things that you can do online and then record them so that they're there, that you can use those videos again.
And then another sort of social distancing safety issue for your pet parents to make them feel more comfortable is from Jess Ocon. Hey, Jess. Shoe disinfectant stations that will help reduce anything from coming into homes, buildings and homes. So that's another great idea. Just if people are worried about you coming into somebody's home or that kind of thing, if you're doing in-home services. All right. So continuing on, I think dog walking services. Did we talk about that yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Dog walking services.
Online classes. So.
Yeah. So online classes. So this is another great one. You guys have, and your staff has a ton of information that this is a great time to do some online education, all those things that you want to tell your clients anyway. You can create little educational modules for them. Again, you could do this through Zoom and you could do it live where everybody shows up, or you could record them and just make them available on a page on your website. But I started brainstorming some of the topics and any kind of first aid class. I mean, for that matter, you could do online just safety for COVID-19 as sort of a way to get started. And that maybe you do that for free. And then if you get people attending that, then you talk about, hey, we have these other courses as well, like short videos where we're going to talk about things. And you could do pet first aid classes. You could do any kind of dog training classes. One of my favorite suggestions is canine body language. Like, how much do we all want the owners to understand how to read their own dogs? So doing canine body language classes and teaching them how to tell if their dog is happy, looking at some basic canine body language signals. So, and you guys all know that because you're teaching your staff that, hopefully. So just some really easy to understand cues that the dog gives to help them understand their dog better. If you're using Knowing Dogs online, you have the subscription from the Dog Gurus, then I would say you're already paying for that subscription. Just do kind of a Zoom link and you could share your screen and show some of the videos that come from Knowing Dogs. So it's not how we would normally recommend using Knowing Dogs, but if you're already paying for it, then you have those tools at your disposal. So I would just recommend use those because you've got all that material. If you're like, I don't know what I would say to these people. I'm not saying you would necessarily show them Knowing Dogs, but you could go to where there's some videos and then you could talk about the videos because they're already there for you. So that's another way. And again, you're just helping your clients understand some of that canine body language. I'll come back to trick training class, Susan.
Okay. And then if you're going to do some online, you can make it like a trick of the month opportunity or a trick of the week if it's more short term, to where there's one video a week or a month, and then also get them to share their progress. So you may want to, that's where we like Facebook groups because it's easy to interact. But if you want to do it on your website, there's definitely plugins that allow for that interaction as well. And maybe you just kind of facilitate some pet parent groups because people are not used to being isolated. And so if you've got clients that have things in common with their dog, just facilitate groups where you can get engagement ideas and help them maybe problem solve or just share funny things. I think anything you can do to lighten people's moods right now and have fun, even if it's just kind of a silly, I saw somebody did a virtual happy hour last night, invite the dogs, bring your favorite beverage, and let's just enjoy each other's company virtually because we can't get out. You know, Houston, all of our bars and restaurants are closing today with the exception of delivery and pickup. So people are really getting isolated and they're not used to that. And so if you can facilitate interaction and engagement with some positive things to take people's mind off of this, I think you're going to find some people that would enjoy that.
So then I was actually just going to talk about affiliates, but Alex said, and this is for the kin bowls, consider joining an affiliate program for those bowls because then you get paid sales commission. You have no inventory investment and you can help your clients that way too. And on the lines of affiliate, I was also going to say another relatively easy way to generate revenue is send out ideas for your clients, like your favorite treats, your favorite harnesses, your favorite toys, your favorite whatever, and create an Amazon link so that anything that they buy, you get a purchase from. You're not going to get that money immediately. So that's one that will generate revenue, but you won't see it as soon because of how Amazon pays out. But it is an idea to consider adding to your website. Because if you're already referring stuff to your clients and they aren't buying it in your facility now, that's another way to still refer to them and generate a little bit of revenue. So using those Amazon links as well as affiliates. We went to trick training. We talked about, offering different trick classes. I'm going to tell you that for those of you that have trainers on your staff, then you could do this relatively easily and quickly. Just, grab a camera, start doing some tricks, demos, build it into a little course and sell that to your clients online. So they, basically under the premise of, hey, you want to do some fun stuff with your dog? Here's a bunch of tricks you can teach. Well, for those of you that don't have a trainer on staff, or maybe you just want this to happen faster and you don't have the time to put it together, what we did at the Dog Gurus is we pulled all of our videos, and most of which I've done on tricks. We pulled them all into one program. So we now have a program called Tricks for Fun. We don't sell that program, but what we want to do is if we were to sell it, we would sell that for $99, but we don't really sell to the pet parent. That's not our demographic. That's not our market. What we want to do is offer that Tricks for Fun class to you guys. You guys can sell it. You have to do nothing other than sell the class for whatever price you want. I don't even care. Sell it for whatever you decide to sell it for. Use it for however you want to use it. And then you would send us the name and email of the people who want that class. We will put them on our LMS and we will do all the customer support for them. So we obviously do need to get paid just for that portion of it. There is a charge to us to have people added to our LMS and using our LMS. So we would say you would pay us $25 per person just to cover our cost, but the rest of that money, whatever money you take in, is yours. So that's something we are in the process of putting online right now. Again, if you charged what we would recommend, our recommended charge for that would be $99. You're making basically $74 on every single client who you can convince to do that. So it's a good way to make some revenue. We would give access to them for a year. So you could say you have these tricks for a year. There's about 15 tricks in the course and all taught by me. They're all using positive reinforcement, obviously, since I'm a positive reinforcement trainer. for those that don't know, I am a certified professional dog trainer. So I've been a trainer for 20 some years. So that's an option as well. If you're one of those people who's like, I don't have time to build this course, I don't have the time or energy to do it, and you just want to promote it. The other way you could use that kind of a course is if you have a membership program already and people are already paying you for that membership, and now you're not offering as many benefits, maybe you just say, for those of you who are continue your membership, we're going to give you this course as your membership during COVID-19 so that you don't lose that membership revenue. And then again, all we need is $25 per person, and then we need their email and their name, and we'll get them on our LMS so that there's nothing for you to do. So that's just a way to help give you an option for some of you that may not have that ability. And again, it's not something we offer to pet parents. So email me if you want that, because we don't have that all set up. We literally just thought of that yesterday. So, but we want to try to help you guys as much as possible. So that's trick stuff. If you don't have the ability to do it, we want to help you do that. Another thing to consider is go back. Those of you that participated in the daycare games or are familiar with our daycare games, think of that sort of a pay to play option for your pet parents. So some kind of competition, some kind of activity where you can, especially if your pet parents know each other, this is a great activity to get them involved with. The Blue 9 team actually does this for free on one of their, and if Jess or Jamie are still on, if you can post the link to your Facebook group in the page, because I don't have it pulled up, but they've done like challenge months where they've done really, really cool, fun things, and they get people participating. I'm suggesting you could do that for your pet parents in a private Facebook group and possibly charge for that. I wouldn't charge a ton, but again, it's just a way for them to play a game, because that's what it is, get involved and have fun and help generate more revenue. So,
and you may even have like some prizes that you give out, maybe not for actual winners, but even doing a drawing for anybody that participates, and you may be able to get prizes donated.
Yeah. And people love, for the daycare games. And if you want to see what we do on the Dog Gurus page, just go to thedoggurus.com and then click on the navigation buttons that says daycare games, because we just ended the daycare games like 3 weeks ago. And we give out virtual medals. So ours is based on the Olympics. So we give out gold, silver, and bronze medals. So people love getting those medals. So even doing virtual things like that are fun for people. And again, you're just trying to build that engagement, keep your clients connected, and generate more revenue. So thanks, Jess, for putting that in the Facebook group. So if you want kind of an example of some fun way to run a Facebook group like that, they do it for free at Blue 9. Just put the Jessica Ocon, if you look under her name, she put the link in there. Yeah, and Katie said maybe that's who we run our climbs to. Awesome. Yeah, exactly. Because you could do all kinds of activities. Tricks, you could do just for fun stuff. You want to make it something that everybody can do no matter what their skill level is. So it could be really simple stuff, but then you might have like an extra challenge where it becomes a little bit harder. So all of those are awesome ideas. If people are willing to bring your dog to the facility, and this is going to be individual conversations you need to have with your pet parents. You're going to find some pet parents just aren't coming to boarding because their vacations were canceled. You're going to find other pet parents that are like, this is crazy. I'm going to drop my dog off at daycare because he still needs exercise. And that's awesome. So if you can continue to run your daycare, I would continue to run your daycare, and obviously continue to connect with your clients and tell them what you're doing at daycare and all that. But you might have clients that are not willing to bring their dog to daycare. And if you have those clients, it's worth a phone call to find out what their hesitation is. If it is social distancing, assure them how you're going to maintain that integrity of that social distancing. But maybe it's they just don't want their dogs to play with other dogs right now. Maybe they're worried about that, despite, the fact that dogs can't catch it. Maybe they are still concerned. And I wouldn't argue with them about alleviating their fears in that sense. But what you could offer is that you would keep their dog isolated and just do add-on activities, individual add-on activities with that dog. So if you normally do daycare and you don't do any one-on-one stuff, then this might be a time to consider, charging to just have one-on-one enrichment. So you would still obviously bring the dog in and they would still get an enclosure. And then when you take them out, instead of putting them in groups, you're going to take them out and do something with them one-on-one, or maybe you have 3 or 4 activities throughout the day that you're going to do with that dog. So making sure you're talking to your clients to really find out what's their fear and how can you alleviate it, and then how can you build a program that still works for them, I think is really going to be important.
And then I know a lot of you still have your clients coming to daycare, and if you want to build attendance, this would be a great time to do some fun parties to get attendance up. So maybe they can't go on vacation, but their dog can, and so you could do different backdrops and different kind of vacation party scenes, the beach, mountains. It's something that you and your team could have a lot of fun with, and I think your clients would enjoy that as well. And maybe even doing a series where there's a passport that the dogs can get, little stamps for going to all these different vacation places while the family can't go. If you're offering grooming, do a push on bath and nails, especially if people are concerned about their dogs having droplets on their coat. You can do definitely departure baths before they go home from your center to kind of alleviate that concern as well.
So Courtney asked, what about fears of spending? So we talked a little bit about that earlier, Courtney. There are going to be people that are not wanting to spend money right now. If you're in certain industries that are getting hit hard, obviously the pet industry being one of those, restaurant industries, anybody that really has a small business right now is probably suffering because they don't have people coming in, because everyone's at home trying to avoid crowds. But then there are a whole nother group of people that are, it's business as usual. In fact, people like healthcare workers, elder care workers, they're actually working more than usual right now, many of them. And then you have a lot of people that are in bigger corporations, not small business owners, and their pay is not affected at all. In fact, they may be getting paid and they're just working from home. So don't assume that everybody is going to be afraid of spending. I think that's going to vary, and it may vary based on your market too. So I would still say there's options for generating revenue, and it's going to be a matter of experimenting with what works best for your particular market and how you're promoting everything.
You also don't know people's personal financial situations. They may have a lot of savings and are prepared for a situation like this. So don't make decisions for them. You can put that out, put these options out, and if nobody buys them, at least you know you tried. We've had many reports from our members where clients are paying even though their dogs aren't coming because they want to support their daycare and they want to make sure your pet business succeeds. If you want, we talked yesterday, if you want to sell gift cards so that you get money now to help you get through this time period, there's going to be a lot of people that will take you up on that because they do want you to succeed. There's a lot of posts out there putting in front of people the importance of supporting your local business. When our restaurant shut down yesterday, our mayor said, go order for delivery and go pick up. People are conscious of supporting businesses. And so put your name out there and don't make the assumption no one will buy. You need to try because people do want to support and sometimes they don't know how.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge issue, is that people do want to support and they're not sure how. So this actually does give them an opportunity to help you. Stephanie Shipley said they're using this downtime to focus on customer relations and calling clients old and new during this time to let them know that they're here for them and they need us, and to let, make them aware that they're there to help. So that's another, I have to go let my dog out. I think he's trapped in the bedroom. That's another opportunity to reach out to all your clients and find out what's going on with them. But I agree with Susan. There's a lot of people we've heard from we got an email yesterday from someone that forwarded her client's email, and her client said, our dog's not coming. We're going to just pay as if he is because we don't, we want you to be there when this is over. So that's awesome. I mean, and we've heard from multiple people that have done that. So do you want to talk? Well, let me let Ranger out.
Okay. Well, I'm going to answer a question from Michael. He's like, would you open a new facility now or wait until this dies down? I would go ahead and open because, again, if you've got some friends and family or just you don't know how many people will be there, it'll give you an opportunity to get your procedures and policies in place. And you may not have a lot of dogs that come, but I would go ahead and open. I would have low expectations, but I would use it as an opportunity to practice your SOPs and things like that. Let's see.
Okay, I'm here. Ranger never gets trapped in any room, but I closed the bedroom to do this, and then I didn't realize he was in there. So he was trying to get out. Anyway, so those are some of the many ideas that we came up with just kind of in a brainstorming session. We want to talk really quickly about promoting these services. So obviously promoting these through email. This is one of the many reasons that Susan and I always say, make sure you are building an email list. I would be sending these emails to anyone that's on your client list. You may tweak the email if you know who the person is versus if it's somebody who's on your list and has never used you. Maybe you have separate emails, but you could promote the services to everybody. But look at how you're communicating, because I think you're going to probably talk a little bit differently to those who come often versus those who might be on your list and you haven't seen them in 2 years. So maybe if you're able to segregate that, that's the best option. But you want to obviously email them. And a lot of times you might have to email more than once. So don't just send out one email and think, well, we only got a few people to take us up on that. This is a crazy time for everybody. If you have email yourself, you know how many emails you've gotten just from every company telling you how they're dealing with COVID-19. So you might get lost in the shuffle. So make sure you're emailing more than just once. And again, making sure you're setting up the email so that the clients understand you're trying to help them. You're trying to, benefit them and their dog. You're trying to help them, create some normalcy for their dog if their dog's normally used to coming out and getting out, and reminding them that their dog is going to feel the pressure of all of this as well as they are. So, having an outlet for their energy is really good. So, and then just focusing on having fun, because the pet parent and the dog should be having fun. And we are all going through periods right now where we're a little stressed out. So being able to be the one that says, let's take a pause for a second and let's have some fun with your dog. So really writing those emails in a way that's fun and encouraging and motivating is going to help. And then obviously social media, you want to post pictures of all the stuff you're doing, make sure that people understand that you're still out there, you're still helping, you're still working with dogs, and obviously phone calls. So when you're on calls with the clients, kind of as Stephanie said, checking in with your clients, if they make a comment like, well, I wish I just had somebody to get my dog out of the house for 30 minutes so I could homeschool my kids for 30 minutes without being bothered, jump on that and say, you know what, we could offer you that, or we can help you with that. So be aware of maybe what your clients' needs are. They may not come right out and say it, but you might hear it in the conversations that you're having with them. In terms of social media, Jess, who works with us, she was saying she used to do, on slow time, she used to do those baths, which Susan talked about, offering those grooming. And she would just put a bunch of rubber duckies in the bathtub, and she would put little shower caps on the dogs and take pictures. And she said a lot of her clients just signed up for that to get the picture. So I just thought that was kind of funny. But you never know. You could offer just kind of some fun photo shoots like that. But taking advantage of your social media is going to be really important during this time as well.
Debbie posted a great way that they're kind of approaching getting at least half-day daycares. It's advertising working from home. Does your pup try to help you with conference calls? So getting them out to where they're not in the background. I deal with that a lot. So the same thing could apply to homeschooling, as Robin said, especially if these dogs are used to coming to daycare every day. I think very soon the families are going to realize the value of it and would like to get them back in. So I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, and that's a great twist to just say, maybe you don't want to come all day, but maybe your dog can come half day. And maybe you don't even offer half days normally. Well, this is a time to maybe consider it. But I love does your pup try to help you with conference calls? I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
We know many dogs that do.
Keeping your sense of humor is going to help everybody. Now, so the key thing, and you guys have heard if you've been on any of our sessions or seminars, that pricing these new services is going to be important, because you can do some of this for free, but really what we're trying to do is help you with revenue. So you need to know what your costs are, and think about your costs from your employee time, and that would be fully loaded with benefits, which an easy way to calculate that is at $1. That's usually pretty close to their wage. Then also think about the amount of time. So include prep time and travel time back, not just the amount of time they're providing the service, or if they're online. And there may be some, notes afterwards. So make sure you know your costs about that, and then price it to where you get a profit. At least 10% would be good. And if you're doing something where you're going to have multiple people in the group, at least know your cost to do one. And if you can get multiple people on, someone said maybe doing dog yoga and you've got, 5 people in class, that's even better because you're getting, money from everybody. But I would know what my minimum is. I would price it to where if I only had 2, I still made money. And if there's less than 2, you might have to cancel it or not offer that. I'm not sure on the members, Robin, what you were referring to there. Sorry.
The tool, we have the tool that you created for Carrie, remember? To track.
Oh, yeah. Pricing. Yes. Yeah. Yes. There are tools to help on determining those pricing, and include supply cost. If you're, have supplies, like if you're doing Kong delivery service, know about how much peanut butter goes in each one, so that you're definitely covering your cost and the time to prepare them. But there are people that have done this Kong delivery service and people like it. Even though we think it's easy to prepare Kong, who would want to pay for it? Trust me, there are people that are busy. And
hey, if you're in Colorado, if you're near my house and you offer that service, let me know, because I'll totally sign on for that. So yeah, because I just don't always have time to make my Kongs. I would totally pay someone to do that. So, okay, so some other thoughts, and we'll let you guys go back. We do have another Facebook Live later today. We're trying not to do 2 in one day, but it's just a busy time. So at 5 o'clock today Eastern, we have Todd Newton from Lone Star PEO, and he's going to come on and help us answer questions about HR. And we've had a lot of questions about that. So we're bringing him on. So that'll be on Facebook Live at 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you are wanting to know if, we have these available afterwards, they are on Facebook Live. Obviously, because it's done on Facebook Live, it stays on Facebook. But we do have a website where we're collecting all, kind of consolidating as many free resources for the pet industry as possible. And that's thedogGurus.com/COVID-19. So there are links to all of the Facebook Lives we've done through this pandemic, and we'll continue to add those there. And Todd Newton actually just sent us some amazing links to different things that they use at his company. So we'll be adding those later this evening as well. So as we get stuff, we're just updating that page. So just keep an eye on that page for new content. And so the last thing I would say, one final thought about all of these revenue generating ideas. If you want to involve your staff, if you're in that situation where you're looking at maybe laying off staff, or maybe you've already started to say, I've got to let people go. Another option to consider is getting your staff to help you sell these things, and maybe even offering some kind of incentive to them to get some percentage of anything they book. And that's a way for them to become part of your sales force with, a benefit to them as well. The biggest benefit being if they get a lot of work, they can keep working. But again, you want to factor that into the pricing. So I guess our bottom line would be, don't just go out there, throw a figure on it and sell it. Make sure you understand how much it's costing you. You don't want to, this is not a time to sell something that's going to cause you to lose money. The whole point of this is to try to price it in a way that actually makes you money and helps to get you through the losses that you're suffering on the lodging side of things. So just make sure that you do understand how much it costs to do any of these activities so that you can make money. But then getting your staff involved and giving them a percentage of that will help you to build a bigger sales force for you, and can help incentivize them to help you and hopefully keep their jobs if you can get enough business in these different types of areas. So hopefully that helps. All right. So thank you guys. Are there any last comments you have, Susan?
No, we would love to hear from you. If you do have a great idea, we'll continue to share. We have themes for these Facebook Lives, but they sometimes cross over. So if you have try something that works really well, share it. We would love to do that. Carrie's going to be sending us some new Kong recipes. Thank you, Carrie. And we can also add that to the resource website so everybody can have some new ideas. I think it's fun to kind of keep flavor rotations going and to have alternatives to peanut butter, because some people don't want their dogs to have peanut butter. They may have peanut allergies in their household and can't have that. I've used cream cheese, and I think it's just fun to have different flavors. But so Carrie, thank you. We will look forward to some new recipes.
Yep. All right. Well, hopefully this helps you guys. If you're interested in that trick program from the Dog Gurus, we'll have that on our website, but it probably won't be till later today. But if you want more information, just email us. If you have questions, email us. So either Robin@thedoggurus.com, you could do support@thedoggurus. I'm so tired. Support@thedoggurus.com or Susan@thedoggurus.com, and we'll be happy to help, or just leave a message on our Facebook page. But all right, so go out there and start figuring out these ideas, and we will talk to you guys at 5 p.m. Eastern about HR.
All right. See you guys.